Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the UCD International Pre-Departure Google Hangout. So this is the third Google Hangout we have completed this summer for incoming students. So I know we have many students already asking us some questions. So maybe firstly, I will start off by introducing myself, and then I'll ask my colleagues to also introduce themselves before we start answering all of your questions. Myself, my name is Lorraine Woods, and I am the UCD International South Asia Manager. I may have met some of you during my travels to India during the year. I'll ask Louise maybe to just start by introducing herself also.
Hi everybody, my name is Louise. I'm an international recruitment assistant, and I'm happy to answer all the questions that you may have today.
Hi everybody, my name is Carol Lusby. I'm the International Student Advisor, and I may have had correspondence with some of you, particularly in relation to immigration queries.
Hi everybody, my name is Sarah McAvoy. I'm the International Student Support Assistant. I work at the front desk, so I may be the first face a lot of you see when you arrive, and I'm looking forward to meeting you all.
Perfect, thank you, Evan. So I know I have a number of questions already, but please do keep your questions coming in during the session. We will try and answer as many of them as we can. So basically, I'll go to start with a question from Haley, and Haley asks, hello, I'm arriving on the 2nd of September, and I was wondering, where do I go to check into UCD, and what will I be able to do on that day? Can I check into my dorm, pick up my U-card and open a bank account, or is that all going to be during orientation? Will she receive the information during orientation? So maybe Carl, do you want to just maybe start off and just talk a little bit around if students are arriving earlier? I guess they're welcome to come into our office and receive information as well before the start of orientation.
Absolutely, and the accommodation is opening on the Thursday, which is the 2nd, I think, is it?
The first, yeah.
Yes, the 1st. So the accommodation will be open. Your first port of call when you get onto the campus is to go over to the accommodation office, because you'll also be able to get your U-card. That's how you get into your residences as well. So they'll issue you with the U-card on that day, and that's your student card, and you'll use it for many things over the course of your time here. You can then pop over maybe to see ourselves. We're in the Jared Hopkins Centre, and it's near a lake that you'll see when you're coming over from the residences. And you can come in, and Sarah will be at the desk to greet you when you come in, and if you have any particular questions, etc. at that point. If you've uploaded all your information onto your student information system, you'll be able to download a certificate of attendance. And if you do that, you can bring that certificate of attendance plus your passport into the bank, and you'll be able to start opening your bank account. We have Allied Irish banks on campus, which you can open your account with them if you wish. And they're very near to our Global Lounge and to the Jared Hopkins Centre. Or alternatively, you can use another bank, which Bank of Ireland is just off the campus as well. So those are the two main banks that are near us anyway. There are other banks, obviously, in Dublin as well. Was there anything, that was the bank, and that was going into the accommodation?
Yeah, and just arriving early, and I think that's our, and U-card as well. So then
the U-card, and then the orientation events will mostly be taking place the following week. But I think we have some information. Have we anything on over the weekend?
Yeah, I think there's a film night on the Sunday.
Yeah.
So on the Sunday there's a film night, so you're more than welcome to come along to that. And on the 1st and the 2nd, there's meet and greet in the Global Lounge in the Jared Hopkins Centre. So students are welcome to come by and introduce yourself to the staff here, and also it'll be an opportunity to meet other students who just arrived on campus and get to know potentially your classmates or people who will join the same clubs and societies as you go through your time in UCD.
Yeah, perfect. We might talk a little bit about orientation again in a second. I know there's a few questions, but maybe to just kind of take a step before that, I have a question from Vishal Sharma, who I think I've met in India, and I know. Carl, maybe you might answer this. So Vishal is saying, hello Lorraine and team, I have applied for my visa last week on the 27th, and I feel it's a little bit late, but I'm hopeful that I'll get a word by the 18th of August. In case I don't get any update by that date, what should be my action then? Who should be my point of contact? So maybe Carl, you'd speak a little bit about students who have applied for their visas at the minute and are waiting. I know at the minute in the Indian visa office there aren't any delays. That's the update we've been given about the
I think you probably won't have any difficulties. Yeah, because they are working very quickly, and I think they're very aware of the fact that UCD is starting early, and that, so they're doing their utmost to get through all the applications. And I imagine if you put it in on the 27th, that there won't be any difficulties. When you say the 18th, I'm wondering, is it because you're after, have you got a flight or something for that date?
The 18th of August. I know I don't know whether I know there's some exam results released around just before then, so I don't know if it's that, or maybe it is the flight. Maybe it could be the flight.
Whatever. Anyway, I don't know if you're going to be traveling that early, but you do have a bit of time, because as you know, like orientation is starting really on the 6th, so you have a bit of time to get over here, and I wouldn't think that you'll have any problems if you've filled all completed the documentation properly, given them what they were asking for, and have everything in order. There should be no reason why you won't get your visa in good time.
Yeah, no, perfect. Thanks, Carol. And just as a follow-up around visas and immigration, I have a question from Samina, who was asking what are the procedures when you arrive in Dublin Airport. So maybe, Carol, could you just speak a little bit about students arriving in Dublin Airport in relation to the immigration officers that they will meet? Okay. Yeah. So
I know there's a lot of you signed in, so I'm going to talk in a general way here for a minute. First of all, as you're all non-EU students, we'll say, some of you may not be, but the majority, and some of you will require a visa to come into Ireland and some will not. But when all of you arrive at the airport, you're all required to go through immigration at the airport, regardless of whether you had an entry visa for Ireland. That entry visa just becomes null and void, if you like. Once you put your foot into the airport, you're then going to go to the immigration official, and the same for somebody coming from America. You're also going to go and meet the immigration official. And they're going to look to see that you have your letter from UCD to say that you've been offered a place in UCD. If you've fees paid, you have to have your documentation on that to show that you have your fees paid. Sometimes they'll ask about it and sometimes they won't. What will happen is once they're happy with you, they normally will give you a stamp on your passport for 3 months. And what this means is that you have to register with the Garda National Immigration Bureau and get a residence permit during the duration of that time. Sometimes if they're a little unhappy with some of your documentation, they might stamp the passport for a month or even for a week or two. But there's nothing to worry about in relation to that, because you can come in and talk to us about it, especially if it's a short period of time. To just say that the whole immigration service, the way that a person goes about getting their GNIB residence permit is changing. The application process is changing. As far as we know at the moment, it's going to be that students will go online to make an appointment to go in and get their GNIB card, which would be a little bit different from what it was in other years. We're waiting final details on that. I'm going to a meeting next week about it, and after that we'll actually email all of you to let you know what the new process is and how you go about making your appointments, etc. So be prepared to get emails, and as we've said already, be sure to check up on if you get any emails from UCD over the next few weeks, make sure and read them all carefully, okay?
That's great. Thanks, Carol. I think we'll kind of stick with the GNIB aspect of the questions, because there are a lot of questions coming in. I have a US student, Kat Clark, who is saying, I'm a US student and have applied for financial aid through the US government. I've yet to receive word back, but it's possible to submit a visa application before hearing back. I'm also scared I'm too late applying for a visa. So there could be confusion between visa and GNIB here, maybe, Carol. Just so maybe for students who aren't visa required, maybe just to talk a little bit more about what they need to do.
So some countries, nationals of some countries require to have an entry visa to come into Ireland, and other countries don't. Examples of the countries that do not require a visa are Canada and America, Malaysia, just as one. There's 3 examples, okay? So anybody who's coming from North America does not require a visa. What you do require to do is get a residence permit when you arrive here, but you can come into the country. Anyone from America can come into the country usually for 3 months. a visitor can come in for 3 months without having any visa or anything. So you don't have to get a visa. There's no concerns about that. When you arrive at the airport, it'll be, as I said already, you'll just come in, you'll have your letter. Now, you said you have US financial aid. So if you may not have your fees paid because you may have to sign some documentation when you get over here. So bring your evidence of your US financial aid with you so that you have that and you can show that at the airport and explain what it is that you're doing, okay, in case that they ask. But otherwise you'll be all right, and then you'll go through the same process as everybody else when you come over here, and I'll be sending you the information about the GNIB. And you'll be able to also come into the desk here to talk to Sarah, who to ask any questions you'll have on that as well, okay?
So maybe the kind of message is not to worry too much about GNIB. All the information will be given to you when you arrive at UCD.
Yeah, and we'll be sending
That's the kind of,
beforehand to give an overview of what they have to do.
No, that's brilliant. Thanks, Carl. A question from a student called E, and E is asking, hi, my expected arrival time in Dublin Airport is before 5 o'clock on the 3rd of September. However, may I know if it's still possible to have members waiting at the terminal if there happens to be a flight delay, if I inform the team of my flight details in advance? So maybe, Louise, could you talk a little bit about the airport welcome that we will have available in the airport? What I would say, E, is not to worry if you are delayed or you arrive after 5 o'clock. You don't need to necessarily worry about this. But maybe would you talk a little bit, Louise, just about what the setup will be in Dublin Airport?
Yeah, so I know the previous days, just ahead of orientation, there will be global guides. So members, kind of current students in UCD who will be waiting for international students to arrive into the airport. They'll be in the arrivals lounge and they'll be very clearly visible. They'll be wearing kind of a UCD hoodie, and they'll more than likely have a stand there as well, and they'll be able to give you details on how to get to campus. So they'll bring you to the bus, bring you to a taxi rank if you choose to get a taxi, whichever kind of mode of transport you choose to get. I know that they will be there from 9 to 5 most days. If it's a thing that you are arriving later than that, maybe do send an email, whether, depending on where you're from, if you're coming from the US, you can send an email to the US team and they can give you more specific details. And
I would say if you're arriving after 5, it is fine to just take a taxi to UCD or to, if you're staying in the city centre or somewhere else. Don't worry about it too much. Now, there might still be some of the team there talking to other students, but it is until 5 o'clock in the evening. But there's nothing to be worried about. It's fine to take a taxi. It's safe to take a taxi from the airport if you do need to do that after 5 o'clock.
And it's also very well bus. There's several buses that run regularly from the airport directly to the city centre, and then move on to UCD. So definitely just send an email, and we'll be able to give you specific details about that. But it's nothing to be concerned about. There's plenty of options there for you. And like Lorraine said, getting a taxi is safe, getting the bus is safe at that hour. So definitely just send an email if you're anyway concerned, and we'll be able to help you.
Perfect, thank you. So some students are asking questions about orientation, and they're asking about, is there separate orientation programs for students in Belfield or the Smurfit campus if you're a postgraduate business school student as well? But maybe could we talk a little bit about the orientation schedule in general? Yes, there are separate orientations, and you'll also have program orientation, so you will have the opportunity to attend several different orientation events. But maybe we'll talk about the general orientation that is going to be looked after by the international office. So maybe Sarah, do you want to just give an overview of some of the types of activities and when the program is officially starting?
Okay, so from Thursday the 1st onwards, there's going to be different events happening. The Thursday and Friday, the 1st and 2nd, there will be meet and greets in the Global Lounge. So like Louise mentioned already, you can come down, meet your classmates, meet some of the staff and the global guides, and begin, your UCD experience, getting to know people. The airport welcome will be going on officially from the 3rd, 4th and 5th from 8 to 5, I believe. After that, any students that are staying on campus may wish to know that from the from the UCD building, from the International Building, excuse me, there will be shopping tours departing, and there will be tours to IKEA as well. So anyone who's living on campus, you'll get to know where your local grocery stores are, and you'll also be brought out to IKEA. So if there's anything that you do need for your apartments will come furnished. There will be a duvet and a pillow provided, but you actually may wish to bring some bedding for your first couple of nights. After that, anything extra that you want, you'll be brought on tours out to IKEA. So we have different events happening. Get to know the international office, the VO. There's going to be an outdoor cinema. There'll be walking tours happening. Most days, games afternoons. The president's welcome for the international students is going to take place on Wednesday, the 7th of September, and that's at 7:30. And that's a great opportunity to meet more people, and also to just get a general feel for UCD and for the general vibe that happens here. After that, again, there's going to be more shopping tours, more walking tours of the campus are going to be available all the time. There'll be trips in and out of Dublin city centre, and there'll be just like a general reception then on Thursday, the 22nd of September. That'll be in the Global Lounge, I believe, in the International Centre, and again, more opportunity just to meet people and to get to know the staff, because like we absolutely want this to be a place that you're very comfortable to drop in and say hello, any questions that you have. So it's great just to get to know the faces and who you'll be speaking to.
I would say it is very important to attend the orientation events. I think everyone would be in agreement that it's important to come and meet with other students, and also a lot of information will be discussed at these welcome events, and you will be able to pick up some other brochures maybe and tips on opening bank accounts, and we will be able to we'll be handing out SIM cards as well for your mobile phone. So I think that's something to just bear in mind, that you should attend as many of these events as you can during orientation week. And there will be program orientation as well. So your programs will have their own orientation where you'll meet with academic professors and lecturers, and you'll meet your classmates as well. So it is important that you attend those as well. Again,
can I say something about that as well?
Yeah, go ahead.
For the program, especially if there's any undergraduate students logged into this today, you're all going to have peer mentors. There's a whole peer mentor program in UCD for undergraduates. And during orientation week in your programs, you will meet the peer mentors who will be available to you for your whole first year for any questions you may have. So that'll be that's why it's really important to come along to the orientation as well. So it's a great opportunity to meet these peer mentors, and the peer mentors are studying, they're usually the year ahead of you. So that they're very au fait with the course that you're going to be studying as well, and they can answer lots of useful questions for you, you know.
Been there, done that, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's perfect, thanks. And next question is from Sarav. So Sarav is asking, how many euros in cash should we carry? Please give a figure. Maybe Cara, would you have a chat maybe about this? This is up to the individual, I guess.
Don't carry, like sometimes we've had people coming in carrying €4,000 or something. That's really not a good idea. You have to, once you have your bank account set up, you can organise to get money transferred over into your account from home, from your bank at home into the bank here. So you just need to look at, I can't give a definitive answer because I don't know if you're going to be staying on campus or off campus. If you need money, if you were off campus, for example, you might need to have some money available to pay a deposit on an accommodation. But in general, I would say, don't take, you may need to take up to €1,000, but it very much depends on what your circumstances are. If you're staying on campus, for example, you wouldn't need that much money because you'll have already paid your accommodation charges, and you can then open your bank account and get the money transferred over. So just be careful, and if you are carrying money, have an internal wallet or whatever you like to call it.
Money belt,
yeah. Rather than having something that's loose. And UCD, I should say that Dublin is quite a safe city for the most part, but at the same time, it is a city. And within the city, you have to be careful. So you don't go around with wallets hanging out of your pockets or anything like that. You have to be careful. And you don't throw your bag down in a corner of a cafe and think that it'll be all right, because it might not. So you have to exercise some caution as well and be careful, all right?
Yeah, no, perfect. Just a very quick question from Otto. Where can we find our written itinerary for the International Student Welcome? You can find that online. So everything that we're discussing today the information is available online. If you go to ucd.ie/international, you will find links to the orientation itinerary. You will find information about visas and registering with GNIB. You will find information about the airport welcome. There's a very nice video about the airport welcome. So everything is available on the UCD International website. So that's just a very quick question, and maybe it was good to highlight it as well, that everything is available online. So the next question is from Kerry, and Kerry is asking, I've paid my on-campus residence fees, but I haven't seen a charge for my actual tuition fees yet. Will I be charged when I register? I'll be travelling on the day I register, just so I'm prepared. What sort of information will I need to complete the registration? Thanks, from Kerry. So I don't know, does anyone want to answer that? The fees, I believe the tuition fees will be charged to your account at the end of August. So even though if you have paid a portion of the fees, or you have paid your full fees, it'll be visible on your account towards the end of August. So you might not just see it yet, depending on when you've paid your fees. I don't think it will matter if if the day that you're registering, if registration opens, you do have to be prepared to maybe look at the module registration, if that's what you're referring to. I don't know, Louise, maybe do you want to talk a little bit about module registration and where students can find the dates online and all of that kind of thing for their programs?
Yeah, so just to reiterate what Carol said earlier, that it's very, very important, particularly at this time of year, to check your emails regularly. At this time, you will be getting really, really important emails regarding registration. So registration, I believe, begins in the middle of August, approximately around the 15th. So it's in around those few days that you'll be getting emails that will give you direct instructions on steps that you need to take in order to register for your program, register for your modules, all those kind of things. And it's really important that you do those steps. What was the other thing? Sorry.
No, I think that's it. It's available online.
Yeah,
the dates are available online, but you will get them by email.
There'll also be a link to registration online as well. So just in the next coming days, so it's beginning of August now, so in the next coming weeks and days, just to check your email, UCD sends direct emails to every student coming to UCD about the exact steps that they need to take. If you are experiencing any issues, you are obviously more than welcome to email us. But if you abide by those steps, everything should be fine. And it's not something, so just bear with us. The registration will begin in the next few days and weeks.
Yeah, perfect.
And I'd like to add as well that if anybody if you go on the website, you'll be able to look at the fees website. Just put in ucd.ie/fees. All the information is there about paying your fees.
Yeah.
And if anyone, there's no reason to wait until the 5th of September or something like that to pay your fees. You can pay your fees now. Undergraduates generally pay in 2 installments, and postgraduates, particularly master's students, will pay in 3 installments. So you might as well, in order to get everything sort of underway, I would suggest that you pay your fees as soon as possible now, and you can do that by just looking at the website and seeing the amount that's due.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're talking about a half for an undergraduate student, or a third for a postgraduate student. Obviously, that's leaving out all the fees required students who must already have had in €6,000 in order to apply for the visa.
Yeah, No, perfect. The next question is from Persh, and Persh is saying, I had deposited a portion of my fees yesterday through bank transfer, and I'm yet to receive a receipt for the same. Ideally, how long should I wait to receive the same? So maybe, Louise, if you just talk about students and procedures, emailing student.payments and to receive the receipt for the visa. I presume this is for visa purposes as well, that you're looking for this receipt, Persh.
Yeah, so if you pay by bank transfer, that can sometimes take, a week or longer just to get their receipt back. But if you email student.payments@ucd.ie and explain your situation and explain that you need a receipt, give your student number when you send an email as well, because this will speed up the process and they'll be able to go straight into your profile and see all your details. And then they'll be able to provide you with that receipt. Bear in mind that, student payments will be receiving all these requests at the moment. So you won't probably get a response within 2 days. So just bear in mind that it could take a bit of time, but they will get back to your query as soon as possible. So don't, unless it's very, very urgent, I wouldn't send duplicate emails or anything like that. Just send the one email, it will be taken care of. And yeah, so student.payments@ucd.ie is the email. So just to do that the sooner you do it, the more, the quicker it will get organized and everything like that before September.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I know there are a few more questions around GNIB, and so a student has asked, Ratul is his name. He is saying he's going to be arriving on the 1st of September, and can he start registering for GNIB when he reaches the university on the 1st of September? Maybe Carol, again, you just talked through.
The simple answer to that is no. So, first of all, we have to look at what the system is going to be. And as I mentioned already, we don't know yet. So it'll probably be a case of you going online to the immigration website and booking a place. You can't do it the first day because you have to open your bank account, because part of the process of registering with the immigration authorities to get your residence permit is that first of all, you have to have your student card, which you'll have. Secondly, you have to have a bank account open and you have to have €3,000 in it. Now, all that is going to take about 10 days. Right? Between the opening the account, they all then send you out your ATM card plus your PIN number. They're sent in 2 separate letters, and you have to then go and get your money into the bank. So, and you have to get a statement from the bank to say you have that money in. So that's going to take a bit of a while, and there's absolutely no need anyway to rush down to the immigration the first day. Everything doesn't have to be done on the first day. So you'll have plenty of time because your passport will be stamped, as I said, probably for 3 months, but certainly for a month anyway. So the main thing is don't rush or get too worried or concerned that you must get everything done immediately. It'll take a bit of time for different things, and you just have to sort of take it easy. And if you're a bit worried about anything, you can come in and talk to us at our reception desk, okay?
Perfect, yeah. And the next question is from Glor, and Glor is asking, hello, I was told that a discount would be given if I make my full payment for the on-campus accommodation. I know if I should pay the discounted amount or the full amount, and the discount will be credited back to me. So maybe, Sarah, if you would just talk a little bit about the on-campus paying tuition fees for, or paying fees for on-campus accommodation. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a very quick and brief answer for that, and that is that, yes, if you pay in full, each residence has a slightly different price, so depending on where you're staying, the amount will vary. But if you pay in full before you arrive on the 1st of September, there will be a discount. That figure is yet to be confirmed, but you will receive it upon your arrival here. So you pay the amount in full, and then when you check in with residences, that's when you organise to get your money back.
Yep, perfect. That is a good answer. Yep. This student, Danny Ta, is asking, my visa was refused and I am in the process of appealing it. What should I do if I arrive to Dublin later than the starting date of my course? I would study MSc in marketing at the beginning of September. So maybe, Carol, if you would just talk a little bit about if a student has any visa issues, and I guess they need to talk to the school as well, and then it will depend on the visa office too. It's not just a UCD decision, I suppose, mostly.
First of all, if your visa has been refused, and you will get a letter, if you may have already gotten this, explaining why it was refused. The general reasons can be finances are usually the big one, because maybe somebody hasn't explained well enough, and maybe that's the case with yourself, as to where your money has come from, if you have enough money in your bank account. Those are all important. They need to see a good, clear trail of the money that is in your bank account for the last 6 months or even a year. And they need to see, obviously, that you have at least access to 7,000 euro, but ideally more, because it actually costs more than that to live over here for a year, you know. But that's what they quote as a figure. So if you're you need to make your application for an appeal as quickly as possible. You need to address carefully what they have said, if it's finances, if it's something else. You can email me if you wish when you have the documentation together for the appeal, and I'll have a look at it. That doesn't mean that I can make any decisions on it, because I can't. But it will help. Again, I'm not sure what country you're from. If you're making an appeal and you're from China, for example, it goes to the office in China. Same for India. If you're from another country, it'll be coming back to Ireland. And you can send me your application number and the details, and we can maybe ask them to check on it. And hopefully that will mean that you'll arrive on time. Because I know at the moment they're looking at the visa appeals very quickly as well. They're doing their utmost to get as many people through in time. Should it happen that you're delayed, if you can't turn up for orientation because of visa issues, well, that's understandable, and the college would understand that. Depending on the course that you're coming into, which is, I think you said the MSc in marketing.
Yes, yeah.
It would be a matter for checking with the administrators in the marketing MSc to see how late they would allow you arrive. The first week, which is classes are beginning on the 12th, so it is possible that they would allow you to be late for that week. They wouldn't really want to go much later than that. But I'd be hopeful now, if you get on immediately to making the appeal, that it won't be the case that you will be very late. Okay, so I'm pleased to send on your details to me as well, and I'll have a look at all that. And my email address is Carl, CARL, .lusby, LUSBY, @UCD.ie. Okay, and it's up on the website all over the place anyway.
Thanks, Carl. A question from Kendall, and Kendall is saying, are we supposed to receive the UCDU card in the mail before we arrive, or do we pick them up once we've arrived? So yeah, that's a very straightforward.
Pick them up once you arrive, and if you're going into accommodation on campus, you'll be given it immediately. Otherwise, during orientation week, you can go over and get it from, there's a special office just very near where we are now that you can pick up your cards from as well.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, Bradley is asking. Bradley is asking. Hello, on opening an Irish bank account, is an Irish address needed up front in order to open the account, or can I give them one later? I need an account in order to get euros to get an apartment, and thus an address. Does UCD provide student mailboxes?
No, we don't provide student mailboxes, and you do need to have an address in order to open a bank account, because they're going to be sending out your ATM card and your PIN number anyway, and they need an Irish address for that. If you're staying someplace and it's acceptable to the people that you're staying with, you might be able to use that address because it is your address at the time that you're there, and then if you did change later on, you could change that address as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
It is important that you do have an address.
That's perfect. Another question around GNIB from David, and David is asking, what documents exactly do I need for GNIB registration? Can you please list them exactly?
Yes, I can. So first of all, you need your U card. You need your passport, very important. You also need to have a bank statement saying that this is for a person who's coming in for a full degree, okay? I'll say something about one semester students in a minute. You need a bank statement which shows that you have 3,000 in your account. You need private medical health insurance, very important. And you also need to have an ATM card because they're going to charge you €300 for your GNIB card. So if you have all of those when you're going to the GNIB, everything should be fine. For people who are here for one semester, if you're staying longer than 89 days, which you all will be because it's slightly longer than that, you usually do have to register with GAR, the National Immigration Bureau as well. But they don't ask that you open a bank account, but they want to see some evidence that you have access to €500 per month for the duration of your stay. So this might be a bank account from your home showing it, or your parents' bank account, if they're funding you for the time, and maybe with a note from the head of the bank to say that you're funded through this account. Your parents can also write the note as well. If anybody is getting US financial aid, to have the US financial aid, you could bring that down with you to show what it is that you're getting to.
Yeah, and then another question, a student has quoted the GNIB website saying changes to the GNIB registration process for international students is currently underway and have yet to be confirmed for 2016-17 academic year. Does this mean we need to wait after arriving at UCD to get the GNIB appointment? That's from Ratol.
Yes.
Yes, that's what that means. That's perfect. So a student, Renak, is asking, I had applied for my visa on the 15th of July. However, in the last 2 days, the visa decisions and appeals site for India has not been updated. Is there any other way to know if my visa has been approved or not?
I'd say just, wait, because 15th of July is within the time frame. And I imagine they'll be updating it in the next week. You could contact the visa office in Delhi directly if you wanted to in relation to this, but I think maybe give them another little bit of time.
Yeah. An undergraduate student called Lee is saying, do all undergraduate courses have their orientation on the same day? What should I expect during an orientation day? Will someone guide us on things like opening bank accounts, buying SIM cards, etc.?
Well, for orientation at the program level is usually something else other than that. Having said that, if you're going to have your peer mentors, and they'll give you a lot of information about those things. But also, I think the thing is to come into our reception here, because we have information sheets on opening bank accounts. As I said, opening a bank account is kind of simple enough. I just say it again, you download a certificate from your student information system once you've inputted your Irish address, okay, because you need the Irish address on it. And you bring that certificate over to the bank, which is on campus, and you bring your passport, and then you can open your bank account. So that's fairly easy. But if you have any, and remember as an undergraduate, any questions that you have, you can ask your peer mentors about it, okay? And if they can't answer it, you can certainly come into us and we'd be happy to answer it.
Yeah, perfect. And the next question was, where is the nearest bank to UCD? Maybe Louise, you could talk about some of the facilities on campus as well. So talking about the restaurants, the banks, the sports clubs and societies. So just maybe a little bit around the campus, what students can expect.
Yeah, so like Carol mentioned, there is a bank on campus, AIB or Allied Irish Banks, and there's also a bank very, very close to campus, Bank of Ireland. So there are two options that are very, very close. There, in terms of the other facilities on campus, there is a student centre where a lot of the club societies will be based. So there's over 100 club societies in UCD, and they range from sports clubs to drawing society. So at the beginning, during orientation and during the first few weeks of your time here in UCD, there'll be opportunities to sign up to the different clubs and societies. And obviously it's a great way of meeting people. So we would advise students to sign up to their different clubs and societies of what interests them. There is a sport and fitness centre, so that includes a gym, a number of different studios, and an Olympic-sized swimming pool. There are a number of different fitness classes that take place over the week, so from yoga to Pilates, and obviously you're more than welcome to join those classes. All that information in terms of the classes that are available online. So just take a look online, you'll be able to get all the information regarding that. There's a pharmacy on campus also. So if you have a cold or anything when you arrive in Ireland or anything like that, you'll be able to get some of the stuff in the pharmacy, which is just in the sports centre. I think that's a lot of the facilities.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah,
restaurants. So everyone has to eat, obviously. So there's a huge variety of restaurants on campus. It's safe to say there's probably a cafe or restaurant in every building in UCD. So there's loads of variety and loads of choice on campus. And they will open from 8 o'clock generally in the morning until definitely 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, and at the very earliest they'll close. So the rest in the Gerard Manley Hopkins Centre, where the international office is based, there's also a restaurant upstairs, which is quite popular with students, and that opens even later. I think that's open till 8 or 9 o'clock during term. So there's plenty of places to eat on campus, and yeah.
I think it's to note, it doesn't matter what, if you're vegetarian, non-vegetarian,
Yeah.
we have all tastes are catered for in UCD.
Supermarket on campus as well for those who perhaps are living on campus or close to campus and like to cook for themselves.
Yeah. Perfect. There's a couple of questions around medical insurance. One question, Carla, is do you require medical insurance as a Canadian student?
Yes. The answer to that.
Maybe, and then I know another student, Kendall, was asking what insurance do we recommend? What does the university do? We have a recommendation?
We don't provide the insurance ourselves, but we have. If you have a look at our website, we actually have the names of a number of insurance companies that you can avail of. The immigration authorities will allow you to bring insurance from your own country, but you have to ensure that it covers you for 25,000 in hospital charges. Now that doesn't mean that the insurance costs 25,000, as some people have asked me, but rather that you must be covered in case you went into hospital up to at least 25,000. Also, like if you're coming from the States or Canada, sometimes what you have is just a small card, like a credit card, which is for your insurance, but that doesn't actually give any details. So if you do have insurance from home, you need to get the policy from them so that you can bring that policy into the GNIB when you go to register, and that it will show that you're actually covered up to that amount. This is why a lot of the time we recommend that you actually get a policy over in Ireland, because there are some of the policies are quite reasonable in price, and they satisfy the immigration authorities. If we have anything up on our website, it means the immigration authorities are happy with those policies.
Yeah, perfect. A question from Saeed, a student from Pakistan, who's saying, hello, I applied for my visa on the 1st of July for Pakistan. I want to know how long you usually expect it to be answered. Also, on the off chance that it is approved after my classes start for the undergraduate program, how should I compensate? I know, Saeed, you've also asked another question stating that you won't receive your A-level results until the 18th of August. My advice to you is, as soon as you receive your results, please upload them immediately and alert either myself, lorraine.woods@ucd.ie, or the team in our office in India who will be processing the application. You can contact them at india@ucd.ie, and then we will issue you, presuming you will have the correct grades, we will issue you with your full offer, and you will get the acceptance letter from the university, and then you can submit that to the visa office directly. So there shouldn't be any delays as long as you give us your results immediately once you receive them on the 18th of August. I think that's kind of India.
Where to say he's from?
Pakistan.
Yeah. Grand, okay.
Perfect. So a student called Francisca is asking TOEFL test verification for registration. I had decided the score report should be sent directly to the university using the university code, but I did not get any response that you verified it yet. Do you have access to the EDM, the ETS data management system? So maybe Louise, you might talk. Maybe the best thing to do is contact us, send us an email, maybe contact us directly, because we'll have to just check.
Yeah, I'm not sure by your question if you mean you sent it in the mail or by email. So we do different admissions persons in the university have the authority to go into TOEFL or IELTS, for example, and verify scores and results and everything. But just because this is quite a specific query, if you want to email internationaladmissions@ucd.ie, and we'll get back to you, because we will be able to check if your document has been received and if it's been verified, we'll be able to see that information on your profile. So just send that email and we'll follow up with you as soon as we can.
Perfect. The next question is from Pooja, and Pooja is asking, hello, how can I get an official chart of all the expenses to be paid, tuition fees, residential fees and living expenses? So maybe, Carl, could you just talk a little bit about cost of living? So your tuition fees, and if you're living on campus, your residential fees, these are both listed on the UCD website, so you will be able to see that if you search on the website. But maybe costs outside of those costs, maybe.
Well, there is a kind of an estimate. If you look at the website as well, you'll get an estimate of costs. Realistically speaking, you know you could talk in terms of about €400 a month for your food, toiletries, all of these kind of things. Then it depends obviously on what your accommodation is going to cost. If you're on campus, you may not need to use bus services and that very much. There is a card called a LEAP card, LEAP, that you could have a look at on the web if you wanted to do so, to see what that's about. That card is for the buses, and it means the fares are reduced somewhat. This would be important for somebody who's maybe travelling a distance if they get accommodation off campus. There's also maybe what a lot of students do is they'll purchase a bike. Now, if you purchase a bike, you have to purchase a helmet as well, okay? Because you have to be careful so that you don't have any accidents. And there is a bike shop on campus, and you can actually buy second-hand bikes, and when you're finished using them, you can sell them back to the shop again. So that could be another expense. If you're using mobile phones, there's a certain amount of expense in that. I suppose realistically, I can't really give a ballpark figure as such, because it does depend on what you're spending in your accommodation. But you should really be thinking about having 10,000 anyway for the year, I would say, and maybe even more than that to cover all the different expenses. But depending on where you're coming from, you may need to be buying some winter clothes when you get over here as well. And as Sarah mentioned already, there's duvets in that. If you're on campus, you do need to buy sheets and pillowcases. Good idea maybe to bring at least one set. But we do have some shops over here that are very, very reasonable in price, and you can buy these things cheaply. But you do have to buy pots and pans maybe as well, and cups and saucers. Or not saucers, because nobody uses saucers, but plates. Again, you can talk to your flatmates and maybe get together with them in order to keep down the price of stuff. So there's a lot of hidden expenses, particularly at the beginning. And then as you get to be more familiar with place, you become more familiar with the shops that are cheap. There's a number of very good supermarkets that are quite cheap. And there's also shops, depending on the kind of food you like. There's a lot of different shops that sell halal meat, for example. So it's a matter of adjusting, but the first month or two in particular can be quite expensive as you get in to get adjusted to the place and start maybe buying some of the things that you mightn't have had at home.
Yeah, no, perfect. Another question from Kendall, who is asking, hello, I plan on moving into on-campus housing on September 2nd, but I've heard that my financial aid may not be dispersed until the 6th. Just want to clarify if it's all right to move in early, knowing the money is coming in. Thank you. So maybe, Sarah, I presume this student will have to contact residents directly, but maybe if you could just advise how they should contact UCD residences just to check.
Okay, well, first of all, there are two addresses that you can use with regards to your on-campus accommodation. And the main one you'll be using is actually residences@ucd.ie, and you can also contact international accommodation@ucd.ie. To answer your question, I believe that Colin Walsh, who is our federal aid officer here, did send out a form with a box on it for you to tick whether you want your financial aid to go directly towards your accommodation or whether you want to receive it and pay it yourself. So it might be worth checking in with Colin or emailing myself at international@ucd.ie, and we can find this out for you. Because it is quite a specific query as well. But in general, I think the option was there to have your accommodation paid for directly from your federal aid, and if not, just give us a bell and we'll look into it for you.
Perfect. And there's just another accommodation question from Pooja, who is saying, hello, so how do I pay my first installment for the, I presume it's on-campus accommodation, and can I move into my room right away? So we don't say what day you're arriving, but maybe Sarah, again, could you talk about paying the accommodation fees and what date that students can move in if they are living on campus?
Yeah, so your accommodation fees, as all your fees at UCD are payable online. If you're having any problems whatsoever, anything to do with the financial side, in terms of bank transfers or anything like that, there is a specific office set up just to look after that, and that's residencefinance@ucd.ie. So in terms of receipts, anything like that you may need specifically from your accommodation, it's good to contact them. The second part of the question, sorry, Lorraine, was
can I move into my room right away? Yeah, so I don't know what date Pooja is arriving,
okay.
So just maybe to talk about the dates.
Sure, yeah. All students can move in from the 1st of September onwards. If you're arriving prior to that, you'll have to organise your own accommodation. So, you know, if you are staying on campus, it's probably preferable to arrive as close to that date as possible. It's worth noting also that if you're arriving outside of normal office hours, so say after 5, 6 o'clock any weekday or at the weekends, the first weekend there will be staff on hand all the time, but it's worth just giving an email to residences@ucd.ie and just to let them know if you're going to be arriving, you know, in the middle of the night or something like that. There are residence assistants on call in all residences 24 hours a day, so there'll always be someone there to help you if you are having any problems, be it, you know, there's a leak or, you know, some sort of emergency or otherwise, there'll be somebody there to help you. But in terms of checking in, it's worth, if you're arriving outside of normal office hours, just to send an email just to let them know when you'll be arriving.
Yep, perfect. A question from Tapawa. This is for Carl. Hello, I read a list of countries that do not require visas, and the country that I am from is one of them. Will I need any kind of visa while journeying to UCD at the places where I will connect, where I have my connecting flight? I am from Botswana.
All right, okay. Hi. Nice to hear. We've had a number of students from Botswana over the years, so how are you? Yeah, well, first of all, you don't require a visa to come in, but I don't know what way you're traveling over. You need to really check that yourself if you're coming through. I know some of the students in the past have come through Frankfurt, and I don't think they required a visa. In general, I would say a lot of the countries have the same visa regulations, so I would imagine if you don't require a visa for us, that you don't require a visa for the country you're coming through. But I would check. But make sure that you have your letter of offer, and if you're sponsored by the Botswana government, as you may be, make sure to have the sponsorship letter with you as well. So that'll be important. And for everybody, make sure that you have all these documents in your hand luggage, that you can have easy access to them when you get into the airport, be it in Dublin or in some other country if you're transiting through another country. And just have a good look at the website of the other countries as well, just to make sure.
Yeah, perfect. A question from Simrat, and Simrat is asking, is orientation on the same days for everyone, or will it vary by programme? I'm entering the 4-year medical programme, but I've not found anything about our schedule or orientation details yet.
Yeah. I can talk a little bit about that because I was the medicine student advisor up to recently. So usually the main start of your orientation will be on the Wednesday, which is what date is the Wednesday? The 7th. and that starts in the morning at about 9 o'clock. And that's the time when you'll be allocated your peer mentor. And the student advisor, Kathleen, will be organising that. Then Wednesday is a busy day for you because you'll have other meetings with some of your peers. Some of the older students in the GEM programme will be meeting with all of you to advise you about the programme, etc. And on Thursday then there will be the academic orientation is on for you on Thursday. Thursday night there's a reception to meet some of your vet graduate entry people as well, and on Friday then you'll have your president's welcome. So there's quite a lot of things happening over those 3 days in particular, but it's interesting. I thought you might have had something on it by now. So I'll actually look into that and make sure that there's some information going out, okay, in relation to that.
I think maybe a lot of the programs are finalising their orientations. I think UCD International were actually probably one of the first to announce our orientation schedule. So maybe you will be, maybe not to just worry about if anyone hasn't received specific program orientation information just yet, that it will be probably within the next 2 weeks. We probably were just first to kind of put together our orientation program. So that's kind of maybe just to note that. I have some questions again around registration, Louise. Some students asking, will the university help them when they're selecting the modules and the subjects within their program? They haven't given details on which program, but I guess would your advice be to contact the program directly if they have any questions? I think everything is online, maybe all the information, but to maybe read it. But I don't know, maybe if you have any other comments maybe to make on that.
Yeah, no, in terms of like module specific questions, UCD International, it's limited the amount of advice we can offer you there, because number one, we don't know the program that you're studying, and you know, at the end of the day, it is up to you what modules you choose to progress with. So if there's any doubt in your mind about what modules are most suitable to you as you go forward, you would definitely need to contact the school. So if you're from, for example, the School of or Computer Science, then I would contact, you know, Computer Science and see what information they have for you and what advice they have for you. Like I said previously, registration will begin in the middle of August, and you will receive emails directly to the email address that you applied to your program with. So make sure you're checking the correct email address and read through the instructions there. It'll be very clear. But if you do have, like I said, just contact the school and they'll be able to provide some information. But obviously there is some responsibility on you to do a bit of research to see, depending if you're trying to get compatible modules, you know, that is kind of, you'll have to do a bit of reading, a bit of research yourself, but the program coordinators are there to help you. So maybe that would be your best port of call in the first instance.
Yeah, no, perfect. I have a question, Sarah, for you from Naomi Lysakar. She is wondering if there's she said she's going to be in UCD for 2 semesters, so I don't know whether maybe she's an exchange or study abroad student, and she said she's been in touch with you and Glenn, and she said that she's awaiting a date for booking the on-campus accommodation, and she's wondering if there's any updates. So I don't know if you are aware of the.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, Naomi. I believe that you got a 1 semester offer and that you needed one for 2, so we're working on it at the moment. It's just a technical thing, and it has to be changed over. Yeah.
No update yet, but you're dealing with it.
Yeah,
perfect. A few more questions around orientation from Kriashnu. Do Smurfit students attend the orientation at UCD on the first day, or do we have a separate orientation? You can attend both, basically.
Yeah, you're very welcome to come up to ours, but you do have to give priority to what's being offered down in Smurfit. And they have quite a robust orientation.
I would say it's essential you attend your orientation in Smurfit.
It is. I'm hoping I'll be down there at some stage, so you can say hello to me if you're there. Because I take part in their orientation as well, to just talk about all the immigration business, and etc. So that's very important. But do come up, and you'll be very welcome, especially for our reception happening on the 22nd, I think it is. You'll all be welcome to come up to that as well, and see what then. Obviously, you can use the facilities on the Belfield campus throughout the year as well, in terms of the clubs and societies and that.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. There's a couple more questions, Carl, around how much money to carry. Prajwal is asking, hello, my bank in India is going to transfer my money only after I open an account in Ireland. Will I have to carry €3,000 with me when I'm flying? If yes, what is the limit of cash that I'm allowed to carry? Other students asking as well, how much money should they carry if they're going to be living off campus and they won't have the bank account then to secure if they're looking at apartments. Maybe again, just to talk a little bit about how much to carry and just to be mindful of carrying a lot of cash.
I off the top of my head, I'm not sure what's the absolute tops in money that you can carry. I'm sure, but I wouldn't be recommending that you carried anything more than we'd say 1,000 to 2,000, and even that is a lot of money. I mean, ideally, for one of the questions there was the bank is going to transfer into, you just get in and open your bank account as quickly as you can and get that transferred. If you're on campus, just bring enough to live on for, we'd say, 2 weeks. So you might be talking about €600-700, we'd say, which probably wouldn't even need that for 2 weeks, but that's a little bit in excess. For anyone now who's looking for accommodation, and this is an issue because you don't want to be bringing an awful lot of money, and you're not going to be handing over just cash. But at the same time, you do need to have a certain amount. So I would probably be saying 1,000 to 1,500, I suppose, around that. It's just so hard because I don't know what kind of accommodation you want. Some accommodation sharing can cost €500. If somebody wants to move into accommodation that by themselves or something, it could cost 1,000 or 1,200.
Bear in mind, you can also take money out on credit cards in ATMs. Yes, there is a cost, but there's a cost when I go traveling for to India for work. There's a cost for me when I go on holidays. So it's something you don't. It's not that you won't be able to take money out in Ireland. I know some students, they don't like to be charged, they charge for it, but it's, that would probably be the safest option if you don't want to carry.
Preferable to incur the cost instead of run the risk of losing
Because we had an occasion where a student was after bringing 4,000 and lost it. And I wouldn't recommend anybody to be carrying that kind of money at all. So you have to use your discretion. And as I said already, if you do carry any substantial amount of money, you really carry it very close to yourself, and you don't have it in any place that could be stolen.
Perfect. The last few questions, I'm just kind of conscious of time, but I do want to try and answer a couple more questions before we finish. Pursh is asking, what official documents do I need to carry to UCD? So maybe Louise, could you talk about the document verification for students who are carrying their transcripts with them to UCD, that they will need to do this?
Yeah. So more than likely you have applied to UCD with maybe unofficial documents, something that you maybe printed from your own online portal from your own university or high school. But when you come to UCD in September, all students are, it's required for them to bring their transcripts, so the transcript of results from their university, for example, if you have an undergraduate qualification, and from your high school if you are just coming straight from high school to UCD. So you'll need to bring them, and also if you if you have an English language requirement, you'll need to bring those documents also with you as proof. So you will bring them to the student desk, which is in the Tierney building on UCD Belfield campus, and you will present your documents to them. At this time, at September, it will be quite a busy time of year. So more than likely, they will take your documents from you and they will give you a note back, and they will advise you of a time to return to the desk and collect your documents after they have verified them. That will probably be the normal process. You may hand in your documents there and then, and they will return them, within a few minutes after they verified them. But I would imagine that it's the first kind of process which will happen. So bear in mind it might be the safest thing would be to carry your documents with you in your hand luggage. You're obviously going to need a lot of documents to come through immigration officials when you arrive in the airport. But also bring your transcripts, because they're obviously very, very valuable documents, to bring them with you and keep them close to hand in a folder or something like that. But all your documents, all your transcripts, they will be returned to you, very, very quickly. So definitely bring them with you, mind them, and then UCD will verify them and return them to you.
Perfect. A question from Vicky that I might answer. Vicky's saying, I've received my approval of principle from the embassy on the condition of my fees, payment receipt and final year mark sheet. I paid my fees on 2nd of August, but yesterday I received the 100% VV Geary scholarship. So now is it necessary to submit the fees receipt for my visa? So congratulations, Vicky. Yes, I was aware that you received the 100% VV Geary scholarship. It's not necessary to submit the fees receipt now. What you need to do is submit the official confirmation letter from the university to the visa office and highlight this on the letter. So either mark it in some way so that when the visa official sees it, that their attention is drawn to that you have received the 100% VV Geary scholarship. If there's any difficulties around this, please contact me directly, lorraine.woods@ucd.ie, or contact my colleagues in the office in Delhi at india@ucd.ie. But there shouldn't be any issues, but just make sure you highlight this on the letter when you're submitting it to the visa office. A question from Glor. Just to confirm, we will only receive our UCD Connect email after we complete registration, Louise?
Yeah, so up until that point, you will receive all your emails to the email address that you applied to UCD with, so the one that you place on your application. After you've completed registration, you will then get a UCD Connect email address. And from that point onwards, all the communications between UCD and yourself will be to that email address only. So it's important to kind of know that switch over. But for the time being, all the important communications is going directly to your email address that you applied with, but UCD Connect email after you register.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. This question for Carl, maybe I don't know whether you'll be able to answer it now, or maybe we might need Mohammed to contact us. But Mohammed has emailed and said, as a part-time graduate international student, what type of entry visa do I need to attend the exams and workshops? And what type of documents do I have to submit to the Irish Embassy? I think Mohammed is from Saudi Arabia, I think. Yeah.
Okay. If you're just coming in to do exams for a short period of time, you can apply. If you go on the website of INIS, you'll see that they have short-term applications, short-term visas that you can apply for. If it's going to be, sometimes people have to come in for 2 or 3 weeks to do exams, and I think that's what you're talking about. So you have to be able to prove that you have enough money to sustain yourself for the short period of time. Maybe also to have your tickets. If you're intending only coming for a few weeks, you'll have your airline tickets, or the plan around what you're going to do and that. I know you may not have bought the airline ticket prior to getting your visa, but you can just explain and outline what it is that you're coming to do. Have a letter from the school that you're doing the course in, which can also outline the structure, for example, of the exam periods. And that should be enough to apply for your visa.
Yeah, perfect. A question from David. I've been trying to find people from my course MSc in Statistics for over a month, but unable to find one. I've also tried searching for seniors, but couldn't find one too. Can you please help me in this matter? So I think maybe Louise, could you talk about, I would say you could contact the school perhaps, or else you could join our Facebook group, the incoming students. That might be the quickest way of connecting with other students.
Yes, so if you're looking to connect with other students, then you should join our Facebook group.
UCD International Students 2016-2017.
So just what Lorraine says, so if you join that group, that is a group for all international students coming in this academic year. Then if you're familiar with Facebook, you'll know that you will just put in a comment or a post and say anybody who's studying MSc in statistics this year, and then you'll be able to connect with them. I would say that is a way that often students will find accommodation as well. So it can be difficult to get accommodation in Dublin by yourself. But if you join up with maybe students in your course or fellow undergraduate students, and maybe one or two come together and you decide that you might like to live with each other, it might be that bit easier to find accommodation. So that group is really, really good for that purpose, and also to get to know students that will be doing a similar program to you. So it could be a good idea to join that group.
Yeah, perfect. And I would say don't be too worried if you haven't connected with students before you arrive. You will meet all of your classmates from your program, the MSc in Statistics, during orientation. When you arrive on campus, there will be program welcome events, so you will get to meet your classmates. So don't be too concerned. Most students don't directly contact other students in first instance anyway before they come to university. So that's why it is important to come to the orientation events and to attend your program orientation as well, so that you do get to meet other classmates when you arrive to the university. There's just maybe the final couple of questions around bank accounts, Carl.
Yeah.
Some students are saying, how will the money be transferred from their home country to an Irish bank account, and is there any minimum balance that they need to maintain in their bank account when they've arrived in Ireland?
Okay, so well, first of all, when you open your bank account, the bank will give you all the details about the account number, the sort code, which identifies the particular branch of the bank that you're with, and the big number, isn't it? Yeah. So that it's a matter really of talking to your bank, getting all the details, making sure that you're comfortable with that, and then contacting your own bank so that they can transfer it to your bank. And it's really is, banks are very, very familiar with doing this. So it's quite a simple process once you provide all the relevant numbers really of the bank account, etc., sort account, the big number, etc. Okay, so there's no minimum amount of money that you need to have in the bank. You could have €2 in your bank if you wanted to, but you do need, when you're going for immigration, to have 3,000 in your bank account if you're a full degree student. So that's just the important thing. After that, if your money goes down, you bring it back up again and you're getting money every month or something from home, that's fine. That's your own business then. That's your own bank account and you can manage it whatever way you want.
Perfect, yeah. I think just this last final question, I know some students have been asking me, what should they bring, what should they pack when they're coming to Ireland? Is there anything that they can't get in their home country? So maybe, Carl, if you just kind of briefly just say if there's any tips for packing, and then maybe tips for, I know Louise has touched on it already, for hand luggage, what you should definitely have in your hand luggage when you're coming to Ireland. It's a question we get asked all the time from students, so it's one we're happy to answer.
Okay, so there isn't any one answer as well, in the sense that depends where you're coming from. If you're coming from California, it's a bit different than if you're coming from some parts of Canada even. So the Irish climate, first of all, is, they say there's 4 seasons in one day, and this is true some of the time. It can be very nice and then it can get very cold. So you do need, and it rains a lot. That's why it's a very green country, but there's a reason for that, because it rains a lot. So I would suggest that if you have access to reasonably priced jackets and that are waterproof, it would be a good idea to bring those with you. If not, now, as we said already, there are shops over here that are quite reasonably priced, and you can buy this gear as well over in Ireland. So it's generally speaking, we recommend that people dress in layers. So most of the clothes that you're used to wearing, if you were used to wearing jeans and t-shirts and sweatshirts and that, these are all the same in Ireland. That's what people wear too, and especially when they come to college, that's the sort of stuff they wear. But again, it's a case of that, because the days can vary. You might set out with all of that gear on you, and by the middle of the day you have taken some of it off and then put it back on again by the end of the day. But there are, as already mentioned a few times now, there are plenty of shops that you can buy things here. So I wouldn't really recommend that you bring 2 or 3 massive cases full of stuff, because it's just costing extra to bring all that stuff over, and you won't need it. You can buy here and also you can manage off and on less when you're away from home like that. The other thing is foods. There's a huge range of all different types of shops now in Dublin, so you can get most of the food that you like. Now, I know some of the Malaysian students, for example, club together and bring a rice cooker, which is a bit of a heavy thing to be bringing over, but it does mean that they all use that between themselves, but you would actually be able to buy something like that in Ireland as well. But again, it might end up being cheaper for something like that at home. Maybe, as we said, because the first day, if you're going on campus, it's possible that you're not going to have an opportunity to go shopping the first day you arrive in, or you're really tired and don't want to do so. It would be a good idea maybe to bring sheets and a pillowcase. You can even manage to get the duvet cover here afterwards. Also maybe a cup and knife and fork and a plate, but very minimal stuff, because there's no point in piling all that in. Shoes, we sell really good heavy shoes over here that are good for the winter and the rain and that. So, I mean, again, bring a few pairs of shoes, but don't bring a whole case load of them. I don't think there'll be any need for that. We don't generally get really very cold. We don't get a lot of snow, so you don't need to bring 10 pairs of snow boots, because it's unlikely that we'll have that much snow, but I could be mistaken. Other than that, really, umbrellas, they usually blow inside out because we have a lot of wind. So maybe hats, some of the beanie hats are good.
Mm-hmm.
What else would anybody recommend?
What to carry in your hand luggage?
Hand luggage.
Just as a tip for that.
Yeah, maybe a change of clothes.
Yeah, just
In case your case goes missing.
Worst
there.
case scenario, your case could go missing. We hope it doesn't, but if it does, just bring a change of clothes that will maybe cover you for a day or two. The airport is very close to UCD and everything like that, so there'll be no trouble with you getting your suitcase back in a timely manner. But just to cover yourself, like if you were going on holiday somewhere, just to make sure that you have a few bits and pieces that will keep you going for a day or two.
I would say pack chargers for phones and laptops, things like that, in case you have to.
Don't forget we have different voltage over here to some of you have,
if needed. So if you just do a quick search online, you'll be able to see what adapter is suitable.
Any medications and prescriptions. That's something else.
Talking about medication, do. And the one thing I'd say, if anybody is on particular medication, it would be a good idea to contact our student health service. You can I think it's student.health@ucd.ie, but you can have a look on our website and see, just to check with them, because for example, some medications that are available in the United States are not actually available over here. So it would be important for you to know about that in advance, and it's a good idea to check with our student health to find out if there are any medications that you expect to be prescribed by them. And we should, we haven't mentioned much about student health, but we do have a student health service on campus, and there are doctors and counsellors and psychiatrists available on campus as well. And if you go and look at the student health website, for any of you who might be interested in this, you'll be able to have a good look at what is and isn't available.
Perfect. I think we will wrap things up there. I'm just conscious of time. Thank you to all our viewers for tuning in today to this Google Hangout. Thank you for all your questions. I know, and my apologies, I didn't get through all of the questions, but I would say if you can email international@ucd.ie, and we will respond to some of your specific questions and comments. So there's no issue. Please do stay in contact with us. Some final tips from myself would be, please do keep an eye on our website. The UCD website has all of this information that we've just discussed, in particular the UCD international pages as well on the website. So do have a look at those if you're looking for information. Do stay in contact with us via social media, also via email if you have any questions, or if there's there's any concerns before arriving in Dublin and Ireland. Again, please read your emails that you're receiving from the university. They are very important. So I know sometimes students, they do see a lot of emails coming from the university or maybe their program, and they're not looking at all of them, but it is important that you read everything, because all of this information will be giving you the next steps before you arrive in Dublin. Other than that, we very much look forward to welcoming you to UCD in September. Please do come by the office, and when you arrive in Dublin and make yourselves known, we'd be happy to say hello. Sarah will be the first person that you meet in the office, so she'll be your first point of contact. But we look forward to welcoming you, and we also look forward to meeting all of you at our orientation events. But that's it. Thank you very much for now. Again, if there's any further questions you have, do stay in contact with us and email us or call us if you wish as well. But that's it for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.